take us through your professional background and why that probably leads us into this conversation here today.
Yeah, so like you said, I mean, before I even started filming for juries in 2001, I've been in the timber business. I learned to cut timber, started felling trees in the woods when I was about 17 for a sawmill company. Always worked around the sawmill. About a year or two before that, always farmed or helped farmers, things like that. I grew up in the rural community in Ohio. The sawmill was about 5 miles down the road and started there. My brother worked there. I started working there. Well, then eventually it just, we always grew up cutting firewood, heating our house and stuff like that with wood. And so I knew how to run chainsaws, and working around farms, you just kind of get used to that stuff. My dad taught me how to run a chainsaw properly at an early age. And one time I just got throwed on a weekend deal. It was overtime, and the logging crew needed help. They were cutting some trees out of a yard, and I was like 17 years old. And they had a new timber cutter working for them, and I had to work with this guy and basically cleaning up brush. And long story short, that guy was irritating me because he was too slow. So I went over to the truck, grabbed another chainsaw out of the crew's truck and sharpened it, and went to town and started cutting up everything I needed to do because this guy kept throwing his chain. And by the end of the day, the boss looked at me and he says, "All right, you're going to the woods." And he fired that guy.
And you were 17?
Dang. I was 17.
Dang.
So, yeah. So I learned how to cut timber. And I mean, no kidding. This is no lie. I was on a work program through our high school my senior year. And I got out of school at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And then I'd go to work the rest of the day.
Was that one of the ones for troubled kids?
I was going to say,
yeah, it was the hellions. No. Actually, I just knew I wasn't going to college. It wasn't for me. That's not what I was going to do. And I was, pretty ambitious. So I was actually taking carpentry at the time through vocational school because my granddad was a carpenter. And I really figured that's what I would end up doing. But then this whole logging thing came into play. And the guy that owned the mill, basically threw a dozer on they had a 10-acre, or no, it was a 6-acre clear cut, complete clearing job for a gravel pit about 2 miles from the school that I was going to. And he dumped this dozer on there, put 2 chainsaws in the dozer, took me over there, and he said, "Clear cut this whole thing, put all the logs right here," and left.
At 17.
Yeah, he's like,
liability.
Yeah, I mean, he showed me a little bit. But he was like, you'll learn or die, one of the two. And funny thing was my dad was for this.
Your foreman wasn't Terry Drury, was it?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's how we grew up.
Different time.
Back in those days, nobody really thought anything of it. Like, you just, okay, I'll get her done. I'll figure it out, And
came back missing an arm.
Yeah. I mean, I did smash one chainsaw. I mean, I did lose a chainsaw, but other than that, never since then. And then I started, and it wasn't great timber. It was like a blocking piece that had a lot of smaller cherry and stuff like that on it. It wasn't like a big, heavy, nice, big piece of timber with red oaks and white. They weren't going to do that because I would have been busting them up and splitting. But boy, I learned a lot. Learned how to skid. I, learned everything. And then slowly Jim started professionally teaching me how to cut really big trees in the proper ways. And I just took natural to it. And so then I started on my own. I just decided to go a different direction when I was about 20, bought my own log skidder and started buying my own timber and things like that. Bought a log truck eventually. And that's just all I've ever done. And now I work for a large company. I've worked for them for almost 10 years where I live, and run the forestry side of, a certain part of the state. There's another buyer in the south, and us two pretty much supply the whole mill with logs, and we run 6 logging crews full time.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content.